Welcome back, and starting the first segment of Breakfast Show with the press review, and we are joined in the studio by Mr. Mohamed Shete, media expert. Hello, sir. Happy Eid.
A very good morning to you, and happy Eid to you and to your family, the team, and of course to all of the distinguished viewers.
Thank you, sir. And now we are moving to the headlines of the newspaper, and we start with Al Masri Al Yawm. As President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi on Tuesday received a phone call from Emir of Qatar, Tamim bin Mohammed, in which he congratulated the president on Eid al-Fitr. On his part, President Sisi thanked the Emir for his congratulations, hoping of more prosperity and stability for the whole Arab nation. What's your comment on such a telephone call by Emir Qatar? I believe this is the first time, maybe from a long time, to
probably yes. Probably it's the first congratulation from the Qatari Emir to the Egyptian president. Actually, it shows that there's maybe a slight development in the relationship between the leaders of those two countries. Hopefully, this will have a positive impact. I don't think that there was a congratulation in the last Eid. So this is, I don't know if this is related to the fact that Turkey is now maybe acting more with Russia and changing its strategy a little bit, having closer relationship to Israel, to Russia. So maybe Qatar thought it's a good opportunity to knock on the doors and maybe restart the relation with the countries, with the neighbors and the Arab countries where there has been some tensions before.
But if you go log on in Facebook and Twitter, you see that many people were upset by this phone call, and they are saying why he's calling now, what does he want? He's supposed to be supporting the brotherhood before. What does he need now?
People change. I mean, maybe he also recognized that maybe it was not such a wise decision to support the Muslim Brotherhood. I mean, we've witnessed lots of attacks during the past couple of days. We've seen the four simultaneous attacks in Saudi Arabia, for example. We've seen recently the attacks at the Istanbul airport as well. Of course, the attacks in Baghdad as well. So I think people maybe are starting to really wake up and see that all these extremist groups, and maybe not so extremist, but at a certain time, at a certain point, maybe sympathizing with the violence and violent groups. Maybe it's the time to really have a stand against all these groups altogether, and because the attacks which we witnessed on Saudi Arabia recently, it proves a point that actually the Islam and the Islamic extremists are actually 99% of their targets are actually Muslims and not foreigners, like it has always been said in the Western media. Also, there was this incident of the UAE citizen who was handcuffed and by the police in the United States last week, and this shows that one of the workers in the hotel just called the police and said there's someone here wearing a traditional Arab costume, and then they came in and
they dealt violently with him.
Extremely violently. Yeah. So this shows that we need to change the perception of the people about what's happening in the Middle East, and I think it's a good start. Let's hope that it's a good start, because actually I think all the Arab countries really need to sit back together on one table and solve the issues we have. I mean, the peace process is almost there are almost non-existent solutions anymore. We've seen Iceland, for example, last week banning in the first step any imports from the occupied territories, and this is one of the very few European countries which took such a decision. Actually, the only so far. Yeah. And I think the Arab countries really should put even more pressure on the Western countries in order to really solve the issues we have in the Middle East region.
Okay, and moving to Al Wafd newspaper, where we read sources of investigation committee said on Tuesday that the cockpit voice recorder of crashed Egypt Air flight MS-804 indicates an attempt to put out a fire on board the jet before it plunged into the Mediterranean. The recording are in line with the data extracted on the plane's other devices, which indicate the presence of smoke in the plane's lavatory and avionics system. The investigation committee remains open to all possibilities regarding that caused the crash. What's your comment on such a report? Because every day we hear new reports, new news. So what's
yes, actually this morning when I was driving here to Maspero, I was listening to the radio, and one of the speakers of the Egyptian committee said that none of those news currently circulating in the international and the local media are yet to be confirmed, and that everything is still open. Nevertheless, I'm sure that the French authorities probably made a copy out of the from the black boxes they had. So I don't know this information. Did it go out from Cairo or did it go out from France? So at the end of the day, if there was smoke or fire in the avionics system, and this means that probably one of the hydraulic systems of the plane was maybe damaged, and if one of the hydraulic systems is damaged, then you cannot steer the plane. So this is definitely one of the possible options. Nevertheless, and like I said many times before, it takes a little bit more time. Like for example, the Germanwings flight, which was crashed in the French Alps, I think it took them like 3 or 4 months until they came up with the final results. So I think we should give it a little bit more time.
We're gonna hear speculations every now and then until we have a confirmed report from the investigation committee. Moving to Al-Ahram newspaper, where Sheikh Al-Azhar, the highest seat of Sunni Islamic learning, strongly condemned the despicable terrorist attacks that struck 2 Saudi Arabian cities on Monday. The Islamic Authority affirmed in a statement last Monday the sanctity of human life and religious places of worship, condemning efforts by terrorists and extremists to involve mosques in their conflicts. Of course, such attack on the holy mosque of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in Medina, shocked not only Saudi Arabia, but not only also the Arab world, but the Muslim world.
Yes, this was indeed a very despicable terrorist attack, and the fact that there were 4 simultaneous attacks almost at the same time shows that there had been some planning, some more or less professional planning from those terrorist groups inside Saudi Arabia. And the Saudi authorities already announced that one of the suicide bombers was a Pakistani citizen. Nevertheless, the fact that they were able to coordinate all these 4 attacks simultaneously definitely shows that they also were able to brainwash at least a couple of local citizens as well. And this is the danger. I mean the number of fatalities in those 4 attacks was relatively low. Nevertheless, and maybe this is something which we should thank the Saudi police forces for, that it was not such a big, it didn't have such a big impact. Nevertheless, the fact that they were able to organize those 4, of course, shows that there is a lack of coordination inside the security forces as well. So they definitely have to solve this problem. But the most important thing is that those attacks show to the world that those people are really sick. I mean, they are attacking people.
They have other plans.
No, of course they have other plans, but attacking people at this time, at this place, really showed that they have no respect for anything.
This is what I wanted to ask you, because the timing in the last 10 days in the holy month of Ramadan, and it's very sacred for Muslim, the holy month, especially the last 10 days. What happened in Iraq, in Al-Qarada district, where they burned the whole district and the building? It was, of course, a heinous attack, and followed by this attack on Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, mosque. They are choosing the timing, do you believe? Or it just came by coincidence?
No, I think they chose it in order to hurt and harm as many people as possible in such a time where it's in such a time and place where it's really unexpected to have those attacks. And again, this shows how sick-minded these people are, and that they don't really care that there were so many kids, for example, going to buy their new clothes for the Eid celebration, and they didn't bother. They just went to this area where there are lots of shops and lots of malls, lots of families going to buy their things for the Eid celebrations after between iftar and the Fajr prayers. And I think this is really, really a hideous strategy. And again, this shows probably not only to the Muslim world. I mean, most of the people in the Muslim world already knew that these people have really nothing to do with Islam. But the fact that they now are hitting and harming the people at the most sacred time they have, I think maybe some of the people in the West, and especially the Western media and the Western politicians, will really start noticing it is really a problem which has nothing to do with Islam, but it's really just terrorist groups trying to prove their point and take control over certain regions where there is a vacuum of safety and security and power.
Okay, I'm moving to Al-Ahram newspaper where we read Egypt's criticized Tuesday's Turkey's blundering regional policies hours after Ankara said that it rules out reconciliation with Cairo. The Egyptian Foreign Ministry said it already has reservations on dealing with the Turkish leadership, which is adamant on adopting blundering regional policies. The Foreign Ministry stressed in a statement that its leadership was selected in a free democratic poll, adding that the starting point of establishing a normal relationship between countries is respecting the will of the people. Why, until this moment, Turkey doesn't want to show a lenient position with Egypt? Why they are attacking Egypt? What's the problem?
I think they have many problems actually. They have lots of internal problems, and of course they have lots of external problems as well. They're trying to become the key player in the region. They want to be the sole mediator between the West and the East, or between the Muslim world and Europe, for example. And
they want their old role because after their dreams of joining the EU vanished.
Well, actually, I think their dreams did not vanish yet. Their chances vanished from the EU side. But their dreams, they still have a big dream, and the fact that they just announced recently that they're going to give the Turkish citizenship to the Syrian refugees. It shows that they're not sleeping. They're not just waiting for things to happen. They're taking some actions in order.
Ahead.
Sorry?
Thinking ahead.
Not only thinking ahead, they want to place themselves as a key player in the whole process, in the whole refugee crisis as well. Maybe giving them the Turkish citizenship will make them have a better reputation, especially among the refugees, of course, and especially among the people who are living in the crisis areas in the Middle East. And maybe they have also a point in proving to the EU. If you are not going to adapt our demands or to listen to our demands, we're going to play our own game, which is probably not necessarily in the interest of Europe. So I don't think that they have really stopped dreaming about joining the EU. But over the past couple of days, we've seen the developments, and it's very obvious that the EU member states are not really happy and are not really willing to listen to what Turkey wants and demands, and this is why they're trying to, of course. The other countries who are playing an important role is in the Middle East region is, of course, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and maybe the UAE. So they're trying to have good contacts now with Israel in order to prove that we don't really need Egypt. We might be able to solve the Middle East process as well and be a good mediator if they have good relations with Israel. So they're trying to do their best in order to prove themselves in the region, and maybe this is why they decided to give Egypt a hard time, or at least not showing them that they're really interested in a cooperation with them in the next near future.
Okay, moving to Shuru newspaper, where 6 Egyptians were abducted by an armed group in Libya's Bani Walid, according to an aide to the Egyptian Foreign Minister for Consular Affairs. The victims are all of whom worked in Tripoli, were set upon as they were traveling back to Egypt, according to the aide, who added that one of the Egyptians is from Minya, while the rest are from Mansoura. Ambassador Hisham El-Naqib said that the Egyptian Foreign Ministry and Egypt's embassy in Libya were following up on the situation and are working to free the captives. Why every time we hear that people were being captivated in Libya, Egyptians, especially Egyptians?
Probably to get a ransom. I mean, there are lots of Egyptians in Libya because they're our direct neighbors. So you won't find many Syrians or won't find many Lebanese people there. So the fact is, maybe the Egyptians are not really aware about the danger which is taking place in Libya, and the government has warned the Egyptian citizens many times before over the past couple of months, because this is not the first time that they have captivated Egyptians. Hopefully, it's only a matter of money. I think let's stay positive and let's hope that they just will be asking for money, and let's hope that this crisis will pass in a good way.
Okay, I'm moving to الأخبار النيوز أخبار اليوم newspaper, where Egyptian exchange gained EGP 7.5 billion during this week's trading sessions amid buying operations from the institutions as well as Egyptian and foreign investment funds. This week, the Egyptian exchange witnessed 2 sessions only due to Eid al-Fitr holiday. The market capital reached 390 billion pounds this week compared to 382.5 billion pounds last week. Again, we have the stock market and its indication on the economic situation in Egypt.
Well, taking the rates and the money traded during the Eid week is probably not very useful, because of course most of the Arab traders are on vacation as well. So, but nevertheless, a lot needs to be done in the economic sector, in the investment sector. I think President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi agreed last week to establishing the Higher Council for Investment, which was initiated by Investment Minister Dalia Khorshid. So let's hope that this will really have a positive impact on the Egyptian economy and the investment sector, of course.
Okay, and moving to Egypt Independent, where President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has requested a report from the Red Sea regulatory authorities about an oil leak that has caused an environmental crisis off the coast of Hurghada since last week. The President wants the report to include details of the damage done to the coastal area, action taken to stop and clear up the leak, and measures taken up to prevent similar leaks in the future. And by this, we come to the end of our press review. Mr. Mohamed Shete.
Just one last thing. I hope the government really charges this company billions of pounds, like it happened with the BP oil leak, which happened in the United States a couple of years ago, where the U.S. authorities charged them, I think $40 billion. So I hope that they will charge them as well.
Especially we need
because
money nowadays.
they really destroyed not only this touristic season, but also they destroyed the whole area there.
Well, Mr. Mohamed Shete, media expert, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
And happy Eid once again.
Happy to do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now we're moving to a quick break, so please stay tuned.